Hi, welcome to another great session here. We can't wait. What we got in store for you today is a great interview with Kevin Stolson from A Buyer's Choice Home Inspection. And we're going to talk about the top 5 reasons why you must get your home inspected prior to listing it for sale. Absolutely critical. Before we do that, I want to talk a little bit about our local market. And so some crazy things happening in today's marketplace. If you take a look at this, we've got some incredible statistics here. We're going to go through these really quick. And if you look at the city of Red Deer, I've highlighted some things here. Check that out. The inventory is down 23%. This is for May of 24, comparing it to May of 23. The inventory is down 23%. So a total of 306 listings to 398 a year ago. Sales are at 226. They're actually higher. So we had almost a 4% increase with a 23% reduction in our inventory. If you look at Lacombe, very similar things, 47% reduction in our inventory with a total inventory of 39 compared to 74 last year. So that's down amazingly. And as a result, it's hurt their sales. It's down so much. There's just not enough inventory for these sellers in today's market to be enthusiastic enough about maybe moving forward with some of those things. So we're going to keep our eye on Lacombe over the next few months. Black Falls, bottom right. If you check this out, inventory down 32%, and sales went from 26 to 28, pretty close to where they were a year ago. You could look at the total inventory at 39, whereas a year ago it was at 58. So again, the sales are down 7%. Look at the median price, down 4.5%. Let's switch over to Sylvan Lake. This is crazy. Inventory down 15%, 105 versus 124 last year. Sales at 60 versus 50 last year, up 20 points. But look at that median home sale price, up to $450,000. That's up almost 20% from this time last year. And if you look up to Red Deer, 31% increase in that median sale price from 413 all the way up to 460,000. Months of inventory, Red Deer 1.4, Lacombe 1.3, Black Falls 1.5, and Sylvan Lake 1.4. So as you can see, we're obviously in an inventory crunch here in Central Alberta, as we have been since the start of the year. But the moral of the story is if you list your price right, it's going to sell. There's still lots of homes not selling in our market because they're overpriced. So pricing is critical. And that leads me to our next topic, is to one of the ways that you can make sure that you sell your house right. So I'm going to welcome Kevin into our little interview here. Kevin, welcome. I appreciate waiting in the backgrounds for us to get going here.
Not a problem. Thanks for having me, and hopefully I can be some help here.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Before we dig into our topic, Kevin, maybe just tell a little bit about your background and how long you've been doing home inspections.
So I've been doing home inspections for 3 years now. Prior to that, I did a lot of construction work, whether it been personal or professional, for probably the last 25 years. And the move was to get into home inspections.
It seems longer than that, doesn't it, Kevin? That we've been working with each other. When you said that, I was like, no, it's been 6-7 years, but it's not. But it's what happens when you do a lot of work together. That's impressive, especially having that construction background, and it allows you to, you put your common sense from all those years into play as you're looking at these properties. What do you enjoy most about it, Kevin? The home inspection process.
Again, my background is a lot of service and customer service. So with the background with the construction and doing the inspections, combine that with my service and just helping people through this process, helping agents through the process to make everything run a lot smoother. It's what I really enjoy to do. Yeah.
Yeah. It's such a critical component, right? We can talk about the guts of the inspection, but really, what does it mean, and how does it affect that buyer and the seller? And we're going to talk about the seller more today, which is probably not what people normally think of. Usually, they think of a home inspection. They think, well, I'm going to put an offer on a house. I'm going to put subject to inspection. I'm going to give Kevin a call. He's going to come in and analyze this house to see if it's fit for purchase. Well, we kind of with the help of a buyer's choice home inspections, and in particular you, because you're the boots on the ground for us, we go and inspect every home that we list. Okay. And I think it's one of the most important things we do, but you eloquently gave us a bunch of different reasons. And I know that it's such a critical topic and the top 5 reasons, but the first one that you gave us, and I want to talk about this one. You said, Kevin, number 1 is what?
No surprises for the seller.
No surprises for the seller. So why is it crucial for sellers to know the condition of their home before they list it?
Well, I think a lot of people don't realize exactly what they have, whether you're selling a house or anything else. This way, with the pre-inspection, we can identify any areas of deficiencies, and they know exactly what's good, what's maybe needs some attention or things like that.
And it's almost like it hurts so good too. Sometimes you don't want to know, but at the end of the day, it certainly is a blessing when you find out beforehand before it becomes an issue. What kind of surprises? What's some of the common things that you'll see in a pre-inspection that the sellers need to know about?
Maybe furnaces where they're not maintained, you're getting a little rusting, especially with these high efficiency furnaces. Poly B piping, maybe they don't even know it's there because sometimes it's kind of buried away a little bit.
It's funny, we've dealt with hundreds and hundreds of sellers, and there's the odd time the seller will say, I bought it 4 years ago and I did an inspection. It was fine then, so I don't think you need to do one. And it's incredible to just, things have changed, codes have changed, and there's a lot of, there's a lot of things that have changed. So what's an example of, do you have an example of where maybe a pre-inspection helped that seller get through a sale?
Where it might have helped was, identifying a lot of people, even with their roofs, for example, they're not looking at them the same way we do, so they may not see some of the deterioration happening before it's too late. So this way they're aware of it and helps them see that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's all part of that disclosure up there, right? Like if and then we can fix it beforehand and it's totally fine, right? Cool. Okay. So no surprises. Let's look at number 2 that you came up with. Pricing the house accordingly. What do you mean by that, Kevin? Pricing the house accordingly. How does it help to set the price home?
So what I mean is, for example, we see some issues with whether it's poly B, whether it's a roof starting to deteriorate or some rotting around windows or trim or things like that. They can be identified, and then the price can be accordingly as far as the way you guys price it out. If the roof isn't going to get repaired before it's sold, then it's already taken into account when you price it out.
Totally. Yeah. Again, dealing with it up front before people get too emotional, right? And I think that's such
Correct.
a good thing. Okay, so I know you and I have had this one before, and it's the poly B. So we'll put in the realtor comments right in the MLS that 25% of the plumbing is poly B. We've gone out then past what you've done. We've gone to a professional plumber and got a quote and said the price of X incorporates this. So you can either pay this and we'll give you a credit back, or you can pay this and do it yourself. And I just think when you deal with it up front, people they can deal with it a little bit more logically and less emotionally. And I think that's better for everybody. So definitely, I think that pricing your house accordingly based on that inspection is a super valid point. Here's one that I love, and that's repair and replace items in advance, right? You give them this list, and it's basically a list. You can kind of be my bad guy, Kev, right? You can kind of be my bad guy and say, I'll be in the house, but you're the professional. You come in and say, look, bang, 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 bang. And we're going to go over an actual inspection here in a couple of minutes where you do your summary. to me, are those not the most critical things sometimes, as kind of those most obvious and maybe most glaring?
Yes, with regards to the summary, and we can maybe get into it a little bit more when you bring it up, but the summary is to identify deficiencies that maybe need to be repaired right away, or it's just something that we need to bring to attention, such as a furnace being maintained on an annual basis or every couple of years. So it's a little bit of both, not just all the bad things in the summary.
Yeah. No, and that's just right. Again, so how do you think fixing this issues helps the seller?
Well, I think if certain things are addressed, when the client or the potential buyers coming into the property and they're not seeing, maybe it's just caulking around a cabinet or something, and if it's taken care of, it looks like the house is a lot more maintained, well kept.
Agreed.
So reducing a lot of the minor things.
Yeah. And I think too and as we knock those off, they come off the inspection too. So it's less of a red flag for that buyer too. Excellent.
Correct. Yeah.
This is, again, all 5 of these are super powerful. This is one of the biggest benefits for the seller, and that is to minimize the inspection day anxiety. And that is exactly what it is. So if we don't do this home inspection, Kevin, if you don't come in and do that, and we don't know exactly what we're dealing with, we finally find that buyer, we finally agree on a price, we agree on a possession date, they're going to do an inspection, the inspector comes in, and you sit there for 3 hours and you are scared out of your wits because you don't know what they're going to find. It's the worst 3 hours of your life as a home seller, because typically that's the last thing, Kevin, before all the conditions are lifted, right? So that's what I think. I think when you came up with this one, you hit the nail right on the head.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I think having the pre-inspection, the seller realizes what they have, what deficiencies they may or may not be able to take care of before a potential buyer comes. It's already included within the price. So when it comes time to, even if they do bring an outsider inspector in for themselves, the potential buyer, they shouldn't be finding anything that's going to stand out. And then we're back to the negotiation table. And it, in the long run, should be reducing stress for that seller.
Oh, yes. And if they do find something, it's truly one of those things that, it very rarely, I don't think I've ever had it where they find something that wasn't, on the pre-inspection. Yeah, it's all fully disclosed, either been fixed, but that stress and that anxiety is gone. Now, when it comes down to just the inspection left, our sellers are like, it feels like their chest is coming across the ribbon at the finish line, right? With a lot more confidence. And that's what it does. It brings confidence to what could be a really tough day in other things. Here's another thing that's important for the seller and the buyer. And this was number 5. And again, there's not in any particular order. They're all important, but the report is transferable to the buyer. Can you tell us a little bit about that, Kevin?
Yeah, so what I could do, and we're one of the few companies that are able to transfer the report that I do up for the pre-inspections into the potential buyer's name. With that, I will do a walkthrough. It usually takes about an hour walkthrough, discuss anything the potential client has for concerns or anything else, or show them where things are. And I also will do an air survey and a radon survey at that time.
Right. And I think that's such a critical component. Again, it allows you to get in that house one more time with that particular buyer to walk through any deficiencies that may or may not be in that report. And not just deficiencies, you're going to walk through everything. What I always appreciate is you kind of give that person that honey to-do list, kind of, so to speak, when they get moving the home. These are some of those things. They're not that expensive, and this is where you need to go to find some information in that. So it's an education process too for that seller. But I know once that report is transferred over to that buyer, then that liability, of course, then goes with that buyer. And then you're, of course, legally obligated to that buyer in errors and omissions. And I think that's an important thing, Kevin, that people might miss. But I think that's definitely a worthwhile process to note. I mean,
I totally agree.
Yeah, these are fantastic points, all 5 of them. Pre-inspecting your home, we've been doing it now for, I believe, about 6 years, 3 years that you've been doing it. And it's probably one of our biggest things to reduce stress. It's a catalyst for sale. It increases communication. And I think it just helps the overall sales process. This is the number one financial transaction in most people's lives, Kevin, right? Is either selling their home or buying it. So when you have that peace of mind and that confidence that it's going to go well, I think that's just a huge, huge benefit to everybody. And we appreciate you for doing it. Again, thank you for your insights, Kevin. How can everyone get a hold of you?
Right there. There's my number right there, right on the screen. An email. They can Google me through the website through A Buyer's Choice, Central Alberta, and read all my reviews.
Yeah, and that's right. And just so you know, our clients do that. Like our clients do.
Oh, yes.
We're blessed to work with a bunch of different professionals in the area, and you're one of them, right? I know you're a busy guy, and sometimes you can help us, and sometimes you're busy, you're too busy for us, and we're happy for you, right? That you can stay that busy in this particular market. So again, I just want to appreciate you. I appreciate you what you do. I appreciate you coming on our show here today and sharing your expertise and your knowledge and your professionalism. And we always appreciate and we really what's the word? We're really appreciative of our relationship with your company and us and our customers. And we just thank you. And we look forward to, many deals in the future and many pre-inspections. And we'll talk to you soon, Kevin.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me today. And I'm here to help at any time.
Okay. Cheers. Well, that was great. We certainly appreciate Kevin for what he did for us today. And we're signing off here. And we're going to have a bunch of these kind of interviews coming up in the near future. So we'll have a great day and we'll talk to you soon.